how can you be really, truly certain about something? I mean, not just believe it, but know it in your bones. Well, we're going to dive into a classic Buddhist text that uses this amazing metaphor, the track of a giant elephant, to explore that very journey, from just seeing a clue to gaining total, unshakable conviction. So our whole story kicks off with this one simple line. But don't let it fool you. This is the spark for a really deep look into the difference between a promising sign and, well, the truth itself. Somebody sees a huge footprint and they immediately jump to a conclusion. But is that conclusion actually right? All right, so here's the setup. We have a guy named Palatika, and he's just met the Buddha. He's trying to explain to a local big shot, a really respected spiritual leader named Shannasalanan, why he's so blown away, why he's so sure about the Buddha's teachings. And Palatika uses this fantastic analogy. He's like, look, just like an experienced hunter sees a massive footprint in the mud and knows for sure a great elephant passed through here, I've seen 4 footprints of the Buddha that have completely convinced me. So what were these so-called footprints? Well, they were basically the sharpest minds of that time. You had brilliant warriors, respected priests, super successful merchants, and even rival philosophers. All of these people came to challenge the Buddha, right? They came armed with arguments, ready to tear his ideas apart. But after actually talking to him, they were so inspired they became his students. To Palatika, that was all the proof he needed. Case closed. Now, Shannasalanan, he's a pretty smart guy. And he's impressed by this. I mean, this is powerful secondhand evidence. It's a big enough deal that he thinks, okay, I gotta meet this teacher myself and hear more about this whole elephant footprint thing. So Shannasalanan goes to meet the Buddha, tells him the story, and he gets a response he totally wasn't expecting. The Buddha kind of gently corrects him and introduces a much more rigorous, an expert-level way to think about it. The Buddha basically says, hold on a second, that version of the simile is a good start, but it's not the whole story. A true expert, he explains, wouldn't just stop at the first clue. They wouldn't jump to a conclusion so quickly. And this right here, this is the heart of it. On one side, you have the simple view. See a sign, make a conclusion. It's totally based on what other people have done. On the other side, you have the skilled view. You see that same sign, but you treat it as the beginning of an investigation. You've got to gather more direct evidence for yourself. So you have to ask, right? Why isn't this mountain of evidence, all these brilliant people converting, why isn't that enough? Why does a real truth seeker need to keep following the trail? The Buddha explains it with this really practical, down-to-earth wisdom. A skilled hunter knows that a big footprint can be deceiving. Hey, it could belong to a dwarf female elephant that just happens to have really big feet. Or other kinds of elephants that aren't the big bull elephant you're actually looking for. The point is, one clue isn't enough. You have to keep going. You need to look for scratch marks way up high on the trees, see where tusks have scraped the bark. And eventually, you need to actually see the elephant with your own 2 eyes. And this is where the Buddha lays out the real trail. This isn't about hearing impressive stories anymore. This is about the personal path someone has to walk to get direct, firsthand knowledge for themselves. And this path, it's laid out in these really clear stages, kind of like following tracks in a forest. It all starts with building a solid ethical foundation. That's virtue. Then you train yourself to guard your senses, to be mindful in everything you do, and to start clearing your mind of obstacles like greed or anger. And the whole thing builds up to developing these incredibly deep states of meditation known as the jhanas. And listen, this is not just some boring list of rules to follow. It's a practical, step-by-step training program designed to calm and sharpen your mind, to turn it into an instrument that can actually see reality clearly. Each step is like finding another cleared track on the trail, getting you ready for that final sighting. Okay, so now we're getting to the good part, the climax of the journey. The person practicing just like that skilled hunter has followed the trail without giving up. They're getting really close to the goal. Their mind is settled, focused, and powerful. The first huge breakthrough is reaching what's called the first jhana. This is a profound state of meditation, just filled with this sense of joy and pleasure that comes from quieting the mind. It's an incredible experience, a very, very clear footprint on the path. But, and this is so important, here's that warning again. Even after reaching this amazing state, the text says a noble student wouldn't stop and declare victory. Why not? Because this is still just a sign. It's another footprint, not the elephant itself. So the journey continues, moving through even deeper, more refined states of concentration. The inner chatter gets quieter and quieter, until what's left is just this profound stillness, balance, and this pure, bright awareness. Each state is another clue, clearer than the one before. And you guessed it. Here's the warning one more time. These experiences are absolutely extraordinary, but they are still part of the trail. They're essential for the final breakthrough, but they aren't the breakthrough itself. We haven't reached the final conclusion just yet. Now, with the mind perfectly calm and laser-focused, the person develops these 3 profound types of knowledge. First, they can remember their own past lives. Second, they see directly how cause and effect, or karma, works for all beings. I mean, these are unbelievable insights, but crazily enough, even these first 2 are still considered footprints. All right, this is it, the finale. After following all the tracks of virtue, concentration, and these incredible insights, the student finally comes face to face with the elephant. The true, final, unshakable conclusion is only reached with that third knowledge, the direct, personal understanding of the nature of suffering and how it ends. This is the moment where guessing and interpreting signs just stops. There's only the direct seeing of reality, exactly as it is. And that leads to this triumphant declaration. This is the kind of certainty that doesn't come from faith or from logic. It comes from direct experience. The job is done. The elephant has been seen. So, when you boil it all down, the whole point of this amazing simile is this. There is a world of difference between relying on signs, even really, really good signs, and having direct personal knowledge. One is a belief based on what you've heard. The other is a certainty born from your own lived experience. And that really leaves us with a powerful question to think about, doesn't it? In our own search for what's true, in our jobs, in our relationships, in our own minds, where are we happy just looking at the footprints? And where have we actually done the hard work of following the trail all the way until we see the elephant for ourselves?